I wonder what would happen if we merged them. One of the most beautiful and best Japanese sports cars from the 90s with one of the strongest American V8 engines. The result? We'll see in this video. A video full of mechanics and horsepower work with the 1993 Toyota Supra MK4. First, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. As we said, this car is a 1993 model. It originally belonged to the American YouTuber Lee Carter, but he sold it a long time ago and later bought it back for triple the price. Honestly, it's the kind of car anyone would regret selling after all these years. With the new modifications, every day the car had a few new details, from carbon fiber everywhere to turbo vents made from headlights. Inside, they added a roll cage and replaced the door glass with plastic for weight reduction. The doors themselves were replaced with carbon fiber versions. The engine was modified too, including the fuel pump, turbos, and radiator. But so far, he considers all these modifications normal, nothing new for the engine compared to before. When anyone buys a heavily modified car like this, they usually have the extra parts for weight reduction in other areas too, like the trunk lid, rear glass, and headlights. The important thing is that he carried the car to the shop. Lifting it, the underside looked very clean, and from the modifications, it was clear the car was specifically tuned for racing, more for the track than daily driving. You can notice a huge number of modifications, from the turbo manifold and radiator to the oil pump for turbo cooling and the steering box. The rear suspension was specially designed for drag racing and stability, keeping the car extremely stable on the track. He started working on the car, removing the usual turbo pipes completely, then dismantling all the engine modules and controllers. The insane modification on this car is that the cooling passages in the block, or engine, are partially closed, a common drag racing trick. It gives the engine more strength, making the block more durable, but the main downside is that the engine overheats extremely fast, which obviously makes it difficult to use as a street car. He removed the main radiator from the front and the air manifold pipes, lifted the car and took out the transmission mounts. Then he removed the hood to take out the engine and prepared everything using a forklift. After loosening the remaining attachments, he finally removed the engine completely. He started by removing the headers, took off the gaskets, and the engine condition was good because it had recently been serviced. He removed the air manifold, part of the modifications, which alone costs $500. Then he removed the rubber gaskets underneath, the valve cover, and the belt from the cam gears. He disassembled the camshafts one by one, then removed the cylinder head entirely. The engine block was clean and in good condition. He removed the oil pan bolts and took it off, exposing the crankshaft. Everything in this engine is renewed, and it likely hasn't run since the last rebuilding. The crankshaft itself is modified to handle all the pressure without issues. Its cost is around $4,500. To make this version street legal, they had to replace the block due to heat issues. He also bought a second engine, but it had the same problem, closed cooling passages. However, he quickly inspected it to see which parts could be reused. Opening these cooling passages is difficult and very expensive. The surprise is that the entire engine will eventually be replaced with a completely new one unrelated to Japan. This new engine is the Hellcat 426 Supercharger V8. Let's talk a bit about its details. From Mopar, the American company specialized in parts and performance for Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge, this engine debuted in 2018 at the SEMA show. Its displacement is huge, 7 liters, and surprisingly, without any modifications, it produces 1,000 horsepower and 950 newton-meters of torque straight out of the box. The cylinder layout is the traditional Hemi 8-cylinder setup. This beastly engine costs $30,000, and with the ECU, wiring harness, and sensors, the total can exceed $35,000, mainly because it's currently out of production and somewhat rare. Part of its reputation comes from the fact it wasn't tied to a specific model. It was sold for custom builds or made-to-order cars. An engine like this will take the Supra's power and performance to another level. The assembly process starts, which is very enjoyable. After lubrication, the camshaft is installed. Its design is clearly unique and different from any other engine. The block is smaller and made entirely of aluminum. Using a torque arm, the outer cam gear is secured. The timing pulley is prepared and installed, followed by the crankshaft gear. Some issues arose, like the crank gear moving freely, so spacers were added to reduce the distance between the block and gear. The outer cam gear is connected to the timing chain and tensioners. The gaskets are replaced, and the distributor pulley is installed on the crankshaft. New hydraulic lifters are installed to transfer motion from the camshaft to the intake and exhaust valves. Oil is added for 24 hours to prevent any engine noises when first started. The cylinder head bolts are carefully tightened using a torque wrench. Next, the supercharger is installed. First, the outer cover is removed, then the main body is secured to the engine. Cooling oil is added, the drive pulley is installed, and belts are connected. New fuel injectors are installed, spark plugs and coils are mounted, and the alternator is secured. The engine is nearly ready. After connecting the ECU and testing fuel pressure, the engine initially had a small leak because some cylinder head bolts were in the wrong place. Once corrected, the leak was gone. The headers are installed, oxygen sensors are connected, and the engine is fired up. The first start is aggressive. The engine sounds monstrous. Initial ECU tuning is done to stabilize the RPM and sound. The engine is fitted into the car's bay. Some modifications are needed to accommodate the supercharger and drivetrain. Engine mounts are reinforced. A custom frame is added to handle the extreme torque. The gearbox used is a GM Turbo 4 HP automatic, very robust for drag racing. Exhaust headers and the full system are fabricated and welded in place. A new fuel tank is installed, fuel lines and pumps are connected, the intercooler and radiator are upgraded, and a heat exchanger is installed in the trunk. The engine is filled with oil and coolant, and the cooling system is primed. After ensuring no leaks, the battery is installed, wiring completed, and the ECU is coated. The drivetrain, differential, and new wheels are mounted. The engine is started. The sound of the 1,000-plus horsepower Hellcat engine is deafening. Adjustments are made for the supercharger pulley and belts. Finally, the car is dyno tested, producing 1,365 horsepower. Truly one of the most powerful cars we've ever featured on the channel. The car weighs about 1,500 kilograms after all modifications. Minor issues like oil leaks are fixed, and the roll cage is adjusted for safety. After a final test, the legendary Supra is taken to the track for acceleration, top speed, and rolling tests, and it performs like a rocket. Thanks for watching until this minute. Write in the comments what you think about this project and which modification you'd like to see next. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That's it. See you.